Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are coming to you from beautiful Orlando, Florida, where we are celebrating the ALEC 50th annual meeting. And I'm joined by Lance Christensen. He is the vice president of the California Policy Center. We're so grateful that you flew out here all the way from California to the free state of Florida. California, honestly, from the limited government perspective, is kind of a mess. Tell me what is going on in your state.
It really is. It's unfortunate because there are a lot of really good people in California.
Yes.
It's close to 39 million people, and most of them really want to just be free and left alone.
Right. Just like every other American.
You would think so, but for some reason there's this sort of ethos that government knows better at all levels, and the state legislature and governor have been very aggressive in taking over our public policy.
And the California Policy Center, you've been very active in the area of education reform. We've seen about half a dozen states in recent years pass expansive packages to increase parental involvement, give students and their parents more choices. What's the situation in California?
So the California Policy Center was actually developed out of the idea to help teachers and government employees understand that they don't have to belong to their union to be a public employee. And of course, we had the Janus decision a few years ago, but the California Policy Center has written a lot on education freedom.
Okay.
We helped sponsor an education savings account ballot initiative. It didn't get on the ballot, unfortunately, but we're pushing hard to allow for parents to have the best choices for their kids, no matter where they live in the state.
Right.
Whether that's public school, private school, homeschool, or some variation of that. And so my job right now is to actually work with parents to help them give options. We have a project called the Parent Union where we engage them. We teach them how to engage with their school districts and teachers and schools better so they can be more effective. And then we also have another project called the California Local Elected Officials Group, or CLEO for short, which helps school board trustees and city councilors and mayors better understand how their role as a limited government sort of person can be most effective. And through those projects, we are trying to advance the idea of educational freedom and parental rights.
Well, so what was the roadblock in California to really passing any kind of educational reform packages?
So one of the biggest problems in California is the strength of the California Teachers Association or the Teachers Union. In California, we have just under 6 million kids in the public school system. And that means about 300,000+ teachers. Each of those teachers probably pays around $1,000 a year into the union membership fee. And if you think about that, that's about $300 million a year that's used in campaign and lobbying and advocacy. They see school choice as a threat, and so they're not hesitant to take that money and that influence and push it against parents and not give parents the choice that they really want.
Well, can you point to any positive stories out of California? Are you making any headway in bringing limited government and fiscal restraint to your state?
Yeah, we really believe in the principle of localism.
Yes. And
one of the things that we did last year is we said, okay, we have a huge amount, 944 school districts in the state. We spent $128.6 billion just on education alone last year. But within those school districts, we have school boards. And so we thought, how can we best train them, parent advocates, those who believe in fiscal responsibility and just good curriculum? How can we train them to be effective in their campaigns? And then when they win the campaign, to be effective leaders. And so we developed a whole program through our California Local Elected Officials Project. And we've given it out for free to anybody who want to take it. And last year we had 400 people take it. 200 decided to pull papers and run for office, and 100 of those won their elections. So it means in their district, they're having and making real change for parents and giving students an education opportunity that they wouldn't have otherwise.
Well, I love that, Lance, because I think one of the things we've all learned in the last 3 or 4 years is the power of those local school boards. So
they have a lot of power. And in California, the school board is the ultimate arbiter of curriculum, of finances, of discipline. So if you have a good, thoughtful, adult-based school board, they don't have to be radical. They can be very moderate politically or ideologically, but at least if they're the adults in the room, we can have conversations about hard topics. And so we're trying to bring that sort of sanity back to the conversation.
So obviously in California, conservative limited government mindset is in the minority in the legislature. What's the value of coming to an organization like ALEC? What can you take back to California to help your state?
One of the great parts about ALEC is the networking amongst other legislatures and tours who have similar problems.
Right.
We're a blue state,
Yeah.
so there are blue state representatives here that we can talk about. But we can also see what worked in other states, purple states or red states, and
Yes.
say, okay, there are opportunities for us. And maybe there's an easy win that we've overlooked.
Right.
And this is the sort of mixing and mingling we can have to make sure that we get all the best ideas on the table.
Well, thank you so much for coming, Lance. And thank you for what you're doing in California. I know the people of California need a voice like yours because there's such an overwhelming sort of big government mindset in that state. So I love that we have freedom fighters like you. I say like fighting behind enemy lines.
It feels like it a lot of times, but
Yeah.
the people of California are good people.
Yes.
We want
yeah.
them to stay in California.
Right,
We
right.
want them to succeed and to thrive. And so we will do whatever we can to eliminate public barrier sectors to freedom and make sure that parents have choice in their kids' education.
Thank you. Lance Christensen with the California Policy Center. And we're coming to you from Orlando, Florida at the ALEC 50th annual meeting. Thank you for joining us.